Team Good Guys want to do?
Yeah, they had a lot of confidence, and both of the teams have been on and off a bit. The inconsistency is one of the big weaknesses that basically everybody else points out when we're talking about Tricked and about the good guys. But so far, Tricked has been really looking better and better the entire phase. And if they perform today well against TGG and then have a good showing against Zealots, they would be so close hitting the Western Clash. It still amazes me. It's fantastic. And of course, there's quite a few teams that have something to say about that. Team Liquid being one of them, Dignitas,
Sure.
and then also the experts. But we are getting already a bit ahead of ourselves. So let's focus at game number 2 and see if TGG can turn it around here.
Well, let's see what will be happening here. Bans usually indicate that we're going to be getting Genji as a ban right away, especially against Tricked Esports. However, there is a chance for Team Good Guys to take it themselves if they want to go ahead and just leave it open and force Trick to go down that path of banning out the Genji.
Yeah, a ban on Genji would be one of the options here for sure. I mean, the most bans that we see, Uther is being banned a lot, Genji is banned a lot, and we of course still have Anubarak in the pre-Stukov patch version. It's going to be interesting to see what happens once that we are seeing the nerfs of Anubarak really hitting us on the tournament realm here. That's going to be
thinking about this, so look at them. They're still floating around, still haven't moved into it. Speaking of Stukov, well, we got some time here. I'm excited to see him in the mix for the next couple weeks whenever he becomes available. He's been quite the interesting hero. I've been running to Hero League often. He's quite the playmaker.
Yeah, interesting is a good word to describe him. Dehaka being banned. Okay, so no more Side Soak at least for now. And there's still the option of having False Set available. But there's the ban on Abathur. So right now that Abathur excels on the map, he also works well with Illidan. I would expect an Oriel early on. Maybe they're already going into an Illidan if they want to go into their favorite draft again. But they are really hesitant right now on their first ban and on their first pick.
I mean, think about the options. You have the Oriel, which is their standard. You have Illidan that they might want to pick up. They can get on the second rotation, but there is a chance maybe Trick will want to take it. And then, of course, there's Genji that Mach has been playing like crazy. And then they even have a new Barak, which is a hero they want to make sure they get BKB on.
That surprises me a little bit. I did not think that they would give him this high of priority. They also give up Uther and Genji, of course, with
That's scary, man.
But let's see what they're playing with it. Is it going to be the Oriel and the Illidan, or are they completely going off the track here into something very different? It would surprise me just simply because their Illidan composition has been what netted them the most wins so far. So if it isn't broken, why fix it? So I'm a little bit confused that they're not trying to play that. Maybe they had just very different results in scrims, but they are now going far away from it, going into Gul'dan and into Greymane. So still not showing that Illidan draft. I can only assume that they had a lot less success in scrims with the strategy and didn't want to play it against Tricked here.
I mean, they also might be just trying to make sure that Tricked Esports doesn't get their full comforts, because when Tricked has their comforts, they're in a good spot. I mean, Gul'dan being taken up here and Anubarak as well.
You can still ban him.
Yeah, it's true. You can ban them out. The only thing here is, like, what is rule number 2 when you're drafting in Hero League? Never give up Genji and Uther. Genji and Uther together on a roster is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, but thankfully this isn't Hero League.
I mean, it's true. It's agree. You have your counters of Genji, but still, I don't know, man. That's such a hard team to run into. Horrifies will have to be on point in particular.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Illidan.
Okay, so Illidan is banned on the second spot again. There was plenty of time for the good guys to pick him. If you don't pick him this early, you are known for playing him, then you have to assume that it's going to be banned out on the second spot against you. We saw it already happen on map 1, now we see it happen on map 2. So the good guys moving away from their traditional draft that gave them most of their wins in HGC Europe so far. I like it that they show some variety. I would just still think they should at least try and utilize it once, considering their win ratio with it.
I don't mind them trying to be flexible, trying to grow as a team, play things a little bit differently. We'll see how it pays off for them, obviously, as we go into game number 2. Now, Tricked, grabbing their 3rd and 4th rotation here. With the Anubarak on the field, do you consider picking up Li Ming here and getting resets and make sure you can control that Anub?
I think Li Ming on the side of Tricked would be fantastic. First of all, you have the double resets. You have a great tool against the Cocoon. You can simply laser it down with the Disintegrate.
Yeah.
So that would definitely work for them. And the cool thing when you have a Genji and a Li Ming is whenever you are looking at a single kill, you can snowball every fight. So they're going to do exactly that. They have also a Stitches now together with a stun of Uther. I really liked what Tricked has. And the good guys, they are going to play Vikings. Okay, this makes this entire thing a little bit more... this is a bit more understandable that they're going down a different path now, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. So they have their strong four-man here of Greymane, Auriel, Gul'dan, and Nubrak, which in any four-man they should dominate. They have the wave clear, and they have the damage, and they have the healing. So great. Vikings by themselves in different lanes here. Looking at Tricked, they do have possible laners that can do well. Genji can do well against the Vikings, and he can get the resets in certain areas. Li Ming also can get resets too. But it's like, who's actually going to lane and control those situations while the Vikings just soak the entire time?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting dynamic that we have. First of all, this also explains the Dehaka ban a lot more than before.
True.
Banning Dehaka is never a bad ban. But now, of course, it gets a different dimension since you're trying to play with the Vikings. If a team like Team Liquid bans out the Dehaka against you, you definitely know that they are thinking about picking Vikings because they're just so known for it. But with the good guys, you simply don't have that. So the resets might become a bit of an issue, but if you are a good Viking player, you should be able to play along. Actually, as I say it, you could go longboat here.
Longboat against
Against the resets, you could actually do that.
Yeah.
That would be an option for you. Normally, when we're talking about the Vikings and resets, especially against Li Ming, when Li Ming first popped up, a lot of players said, hey, Li Ming is a great counter against the Vikings. But a lot of Vikings players countered that by saying, hey, once I have my 16, I can actually pressure Li Ming way more than she can pressure me. So she's not even going to get any resets because with a Largen in charge on Olaf, I simply move in, stun her out, and then she has to run or she dies.
Sure.
If you have the Genji, on the other hand, you have two heroes that can capitalize on it, and once the resets start coming in, you are definitely screwed. Longboat, we've seen it once from ADRD. He did a fair amount of damage. That's one of the ways he could work around the resets to a certain extent.
Yeah, you have to be careful, though, with your positioning, because if it gets killed, you're all stunned, and that's easy. You just hit E, throw a W out, get the resets.
Yeah, absolutely right. So that has its own downside. But if they can just macro play it and go into a late game with Vikings, maybe pick up Fury of the Storm and then simply push out the lanes the entire time, that would be strong. But I'm curious. This is definitely something they prepared for the map in particular. They let their best draft slide, didn't even attempt to pick it for that sole reason. So there must be a lot of confidence behind the draft.
Yeah, for me, I actually lean towards the good guys a little bit more because I feel like the wave clear for Twitch Esports is very low until that W build becomes available for Stitches. And of course, Chin can do okay as a Boolean lane, but we'll see how it pays off as we go into game number 2. Team Good Guys bringing the Vikings out for Cursed Hollow. Can Twitch Esports handle the pressure coming their way?
We're going to find out right now going into game number 2 on Cursed Hollow.
On the left side, in the blue, it will be Tricked Esport. It's going to be Alex the Prodigy on Chen, Rimmer on Stitches, Nape on Uther, Make on Genji, and Crosby playing Li Ming.
Tricked Esports in blue, and of course on the other side of the map in red we have their opponents. It's the Good Guys with Kronos on Auriel. We're currently looking at BKB on Nubrak up at that front line. Gul'dan this time played by Xay, and we see Antihero on his Greymane. With Raid Boss taking over on the macro plays, going for the Vikings and trying to get that value.
Raid Boss playing the Vikings. That's exciting to hear. I feel like when I watch Raid Boss, I really enjoy his positioning and his movement and team fights in general. Can he handle 3 individuals? We'll see.
This is also one of the things, it surprises me for one reason. The pick on him on the Vikings, if you look at the roles in the team, isn't really that surprising. We know that Xay is the mage player first of all, so him on the Gul'dan is not something that's shocking. Nice attack against Make, by the way, nearly getting the kill. They might actually get it, and indeed they do. Great play here. Even the beast step from Antihero. All right, so Anti with the beast step, good hook and stun. But to continue the thought, Gul'dan being played by Xay is not really shocking. Greymane on Antihero is also that we are used to seeing. The one thing that surprises me a little bit by the Vikings being played by Raid Boss is that he is the shot caller of a team in a lot of situations. And usually when you're playing the Vikings, what happens immediately is
you stop talking.
You stop talking, exactly. You talk a lot less. So someone else has to really focus a bit more. And they have definitely players that are very experienced with it. Antihero is good in that role. We have also BKB in that position. But it's just interesting to see that because we still know that Raid Boss is the main shot caller and also drafter for the team.
It's also very interesting how they're handling this landing here. Team Good Guys has put 4 people in the middle, and I actually like it simply because of how the map objective works with tribute spawning. This gives them the best possible way to rotate into tributes and allow the Vikings to be in a good spot. Genji gets picked off too. Nape's low on health. Can Anti go in for it? It's looking like a no as Rimmer drops in the helping hand, but still, Team Good Guys keeps pushing forward.
Without the helping hand, that would have been a dead Luther for sure. But I'm also impressed by Xay. His positioning and his movements in that last fight were crazy good. Juking and diving the entire time, making sure that Genji did not get the kill. So far, the good guys are looking pretty solid here.
Well, I kind of expect them to have a good early game. The question is, at level 10, will they be in a spot where they can win the team fights, or will they be able to handle the resets that will be coming in from Genji and Li Ming, or will they succumb to the team fight?
I'm really worried about team fighting. I think at this point there's a high chance that they will never force team fights and just try and play around their opponent, simply because once you have the Dragon Blade and you have Li Ming, you are basically guaranteed resets against the Vikings. A good Viking player will play around them to an extent, but if you have both of these heroes against you with that AoE, you will lose Vikings, and that is just reset city.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that the good guys are simply saying, let's play the map, play around them, force the lanes and push them in and make sure that we don't have to take more team fights than necessary.
Yeah, totally true. I mean, as a Vikings player, you're only human. Eventually there will be a mistake, and that's when the resets come in.
You have one jump, and then you have another dodge, and at that point, Genji is just going to pop his Dragon Blade and get reset after reset for Li Ming, and that is such a massive barrage of damage coming out from her. I would be surprised if they are willing to take big team fights.
Oh, now we're doing the Viking dance, which you normally have when you have Abathur as well. And you're trying to soak experience leads as you can on the auto side. But so far, Trick Sports did a good job here of poking and stopping the chip from being grabbed until now. But they also kept peeling off the Genji. They had Genji on the top, floating around, applying pressure and doing whatever he could to slow down that tribute, but running to the middle lane to also stop the Viking from soaking, and they were able to pick up Eric because of it. And now Trick Esports, with Alex and Pro G in particular, is starting to push in this top lane and become a nuisance.
The pick on Chen was so sexy. That was so good. You know that you're going to be on a solo lane a lot of times, and with Chen, if you don't have someone that can put pressure on you in particular or interrupt you, you can just simply sit in those towers and soak the ammunition down, and then you're pressuring the towers, you're pressuring the fort, and that is what Alex is doing now on his Chen. He's doing really well with him. And they got a massive amount of value just by destroying structures. So Trick is playing this very smart. They lost 2 heroes. The 4-man struggled a bit at the beginning, but I really like how they are laning. Even what they did just now during the tribute. I mean, what did we see? They split 2 heroes of the tribute fight and were still able to stall it out. They never really wanted that first tribute. They just said, guys, as long as you stall it out, Genji and Chen can take the Vikings off, and then we get more value from the lane soak.
You know things aren't going well when you start to peel off that gray main from that 4-man that you usually would have with the Vikings is you want to push in a lane. Team Good Guys is having a really hard time of getting anything done, so they peel off the gray main to make sure that they can at least soak the experience and stay even with their opponents. They are in a spot where they're 1-to-1 in tributes, which is a testament to Trick Esports being able to grab that, but I am worried as we go to level 10 here. We actually have the Viking composition behind an experience and Trick Esports moving towards 10 quicker.
Now, having the Viking composition behind an EXP is not necessarily horrible this early. Of course, ideally you want to be ahead, but Vikings get a lot stronger towards the later stages of the game in particular. What I'm more worried about is that with all the AoE damage that we see coming from Trick, I just don't think there's ever a time where you can take that 5 versus 5.
Well, Team Good Guys is making this 4v4 work very well as they push in the middle, clear out the waves. We're going to have Kronaz hit with the hook, and he gets low on health. Make going in for the reset. It will be sidestepped. Reflect comes out. Can Auntie get the kill? He's looking for it, but the vision not available at the moment. He's chasing. Oh wow. Make just barely getting out.
You know what would have changed that? If Eric, who just bribed the camp and died now, would have attacked Genji. He was in range, he could have gone in there, could have hit 1 or 2 shots, but they prioritized the camp over the kill.
Eric slacking.
Yeah, Eric slacking. Not necessarily a bad choice. Just pointing it out, they had a trade potential there, but I think the chance of Genji surviving here with his E were just a bit too high for them. Well, we saw the fort, by the way, taken out in the mid lane. Let's not forget that Chen also accomplished the same thing up at the top, so it was an even trade for Trick.
Well, it's all about 10s here for our teams. Raid Boss is in a spot to delay Make here with his Baylog. It's going to come in just at the right time. Get a little bit of harassment. 10 just so close. Olaf frantically soaking it in the top. Boss started for Tricky on the left side here. They're willing to get rid of this tribute if they have to.
Yeah, but they might be found out now, so they are leashing the boss. And we have another tribute being picked. Oh, well, Alex is moving in from the top. He could go for another interrupt. Indeed, that's exactly what he does. Bullet comes out at the same time. Make is already low. An anti-hero, as long as he can escape there, they should be fine. But here comes the triple panda. They're going in. Vikings still on the lanes. 5 versus 4 now. Horrify used. And we see the Vikings coming in with a play again, forcing the battle.
We're going to have a full 5-on-5, but Trick Esports is taking some damage, and here comes the resets. Crosby hits the E button, getting those calamities in, looking for multiple kills. He gets 4. Can he get a 5th? No, he's out of mana, but Alex Proji jumping in.
Yeah, Crosby's biggest problem on Li Ming was that he can't press his buttons that fast. Too many heroes dying too fast. Oriel dying, Genji as well, though anti-hero also eliminated. That was... yeah, so they jumped in with the Vikings, and actually the timing of the attack wasn't too bad because he did it after Genji already used the Dragon Blade. That's a lot of AoE gone, but you could really tell that once the kills started to come in, Li Ming didn't really know what to do. There was 3 kills coming in where Li Ming was only able to capitalize on a single reset since it just happened too fast after another. I think for the next fight, what Crosby is just going to do, hammer E and left click the entire time and nothing else. Get calamity after calamity in and make sure that they are just getting the damage done. But that was a very... it was a bit of an omen of what's to come here in this game if the good guys are not being careful.
So Team Good Guys going to focus on macro here. They turn around and grab the boss on the top right, while Trick Esports is grabbing the one on the bottom. Be able to get those bosses pushing in opposite lanes here for both of our teams. Next tribute will be Curse for Trick Esports. So Team Good Guys may have to face the noise here and come in for a team fight.
Also, we should still point out that even though there was a few heroes that were taken out on the side of the good guys in the last fight, experience is still even. And we're now having the push coming up at the top with Raid Boss using Balog for it now as well. And a second camp coming in. And this camp in the middle is really important because we have the Mercenary Lord on level 4 taken for Raid Boss on his Vikings. So if he gets a Viking close, and he has one, this camp can do a lot of work if they stall out the fight up at the top.
Divine Shield comes out as well as the Fear as Team Good Guys is going to bring everything out to get a kill, and they don't do it. BKB is low on health. Genji going in with the Dragon Blade. Age will be used to save him, but Zay, he gets hooked by Rimmer.
Yeah, gets hooked, and the problem with the Horrify was it was too late. The Divine Shield went through already. That was the big idea behind it, to get the Horrify so that he can get the kill, but that wasn't the case. So there was 2 ults that didn't get value. Maka, oh my god, he is so low, but is surviving. They get the kill against Anubarak. Anti-Hero is on the run, tries to hit a Cursed Bullet, does it into the wrong direction though. They get a double kill against Li Ming and Genji. Vikings coming in now too, finally, as they all of a sudden see a chance, and they get Stitches. He's down, Knapp is on the run, Alex is low. This could be a wipe against Tricked.
The Vikings coming in and destroying the fight on the right side with Alex Proji falling down. Nape being soloed by a turret, barely getting away, but the wall will body block him here. Detainment Strike comes out, and 5 members down for Trick Esports. The boss still pushing in the top.
Wow, that was actually insane, because the Horrify missing was a big problem. The whole idea was to target the frontliner on the side of Trick, but then the Divine Shield comes out before Horrify comes in, so a little bit of a mistiming. And that should have been a massive problem for the good guys. But Trick goes in, they lose 2 heroes, and once the fight is late, then the Vikings jump in and really capitalize on the situation. And it was with Anti-Hero even missing a Cursed Bullet as he was trying to run away and didn't get his mouse centered on the hero fast enough. Still a great fight from good guys, and so much value from the camp in the middle, the boss at the top. This is looking fantastic for the good guys now. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it really is. Even with the Cursed Bullet missing, the cocktails in particular, and Goldan's Q consistently hitting on multiple members as they were moving through the bushes, what really allowed for them to win that team fight. Alex Proji went in at full health, but his teammates were all below half health, and they had a really hard time getting those kills. They needed resets to happen, but they didn't quite get the ones they needed. And now they have to deal with the onslaught of a curse. Top, middle, and bottom all pushing. Everyone from the good guys in the bottom, while the Vikings work on the middle and the top.
Vikings already on the top here, but there shouldn't really be too much more structures falling. So we're seeing Trick willing to take a fight. They've won a fight before 16 hits. Here comes the Horrify. Again, the Divine Shield on Genji. Great timing for him, and that is the end of Gul'dan. They are going to get Kronos too. Everybody is going to fall, but the Vikings are still getting value in the meantime. Great quad kill that we're seeing from Trick, but they will lose the keep at the top lane.
Yep, the Raid Boss is working on it still. Eric there. So Trick Esports needs to make a play. What are they going to do here? They decide to keep pushing in the bottom. Are they moving in for a keep? This might be a bit too early with Gul'dan spawning in 15 seconds.
Now Raid Boss sacrificing one of his heroes, just trying to buy a little bit of time. But Olaf dies, and this will be a trading keeps. Shouldn't be a problem for them here. They have the damage outputs, another 4 seconds until the heroes are back. So they're trading keep for keep. That worked out in their favor. They closed the entire gap in experience, thanks to the win in the team fight. And the problem that the good guys just have is that their Horrifiers do not give them the kills they want. It was a very solid attempt from Zay here, but it was just, coincidentally in this case, exactly at the same time that Genji was enabled by Uther to use the Dragon Blade by getting the Divine Shield. So it's a bit of a rough match for them still. 11 kills against 8, by the way. We really have a very kill-heavy game on our hands.
That's right, 19 in total. It's such a volatile matchup, that Genji and Uther versus that Horrify. Which one lands first? And so far, it's been Uther winning out on the trades every single time. In fact, they're getting to a point where they get the Dragon Blade started, and the moment they hear the audio cue of the Dragon Blade coming out, Divine Shield immediately on Genji, making it very hard for those Horrifies to connect. It might come down to a point where we have the Nubrak just cocoon out Li Ming to try and slow down the damage. They try to survive for it and then fight afterwards with the Horrify.
Yeah, with the Horrifies, they definitely have to play around it a bit better. I really still like, though, that in the later stages of the game, every single camp that is now being picked by the good guys will get massive value thanks to the Vikings with the Mercenary Lord. Just simply because we have now the teams roaming as 5 on the map, and there are no globals. Fight is starting. Nice use of Auriel's ult. Can they keep Zay alive? They cannot. The Vikings move in. They try to go for Crosby. He jumps out. There's no sun at this point, but that's the kill against the first Viking. The second follows as the resets are starting to kick in. And that is another 3 heroes eliminated. All 3 Vikings going down, Gul'dan as well, and of course an Uberak, and this could be a double boss play by Trick Esports.
Rimmer is just opening up these fights so well for Trick Esports. Every hook has been on Auriel or Gul'dan, the 2 targets that are immobile and force situations to be used, heroics to be used to even let them survive. And Trick Esports just takes the opportunity, sets up for resets, and keep moving in for the kills. That's 3 pickoffs right away, boss in the top right with Giants pushing in.
Also, Nubarak never even used his own ult in the fight. We didn't see the cocoon come out, and that is definitely a big problem here too. That's going to be a curse, and there's going to be 2 bosses on the curse. They can even time the curse if they wanted to. They could have delayed this even if they wanted to do that. But they don't. They have the burst damage. They go for the second one. Already the good guys are working up at the top. But this boss is going to go straight for the core. And that's a chance for the good guys, for Trick Esports, to maybe even make that play. But it is a risk since it's still on the 16 talent for both teams.
Wouldn't mind them moving in here for the aggressive play. Always good to try and shut down the Vikings as soon as you can, because there is always that factor of maybe if you lose a team fight or a team fight goes on for too long, the Vikings get a lot of value. And Trick Esports seems to agree as they start to move in with the boss in the front line here, setting up on the side. BKB is forcing an engagement before boss gets here.
Yeah, Vikings are still trying to defend up at the top. Keep is still disabled thanks to the curse, so the Keep should fall here. But down here at the bot lane, oh my god, the hook again. And that was just too easy. Pulverize slowing him down, and then he had no chance dodging the hook. That's the kill they needed. They get the second, and this should be the end as Trick Esports gets that 3rd kill as well. They are completely destroying the good guys here. 17 kills against 8, and now 2 bosses on the core.
2 bosses on the core, and it continues to fall as Trick Esports adds more damage to it, and that will be it. GG here, as Trick Esports will go up 2-0 in the series, destroying in the last few fights.
I can't even remember the last time I saw 2 bosses wailing down at the core. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Playing Ducks in week 3, I think, of Phase 1 is when it happened.
It's that game. We had 1-2 really good fights on the side of the good guys, but both of those fights happened when the Vikings jumped in very late and the team got value before that. So especially the push at the bot lane with the curse was a massive issue. It was a good call from Trick, by the way.
Sure.
Saying just, guys, okay, let's go for the fight. Ignore the top lane. We lose the keep. We can afford to do it as long as we win the fight. And then we move through the bot lane, take the keep. And that, in the end, was also their win condition. They got the boss at the bot lane and said, with this one, we can move through. The kill against Antihero, perfect. Pulverize slows him down. He can't dodge the hook. And then it's an easy kill from there and a 5 versus 4 afterwards.
Well, Trick Esports continues to destroy anyone they go up against right now. They're up 2-0 over the good guys. We'll see if they can make it a 3-0 after this commercial break. We'll be right back to see the rest of the series.